This is Scott Gustafson with Cycle News. Today I'm going to show you how to change a fork seal on KTM's new AER48 fork. Now on this particular pair of forks, we did have a leaky fork seal on the air side. In KTM's case, it won't compromise the amount of air that's in the fork. The air is housed inside of a cartridge inside the fork, and a leaky fork seal will not compromise the amount of air, so nothing will escape as a result. We're going to secure the fork in a vise with aluminum jaws. The first step is to let a little air out of the fork in order to ease disassembly. We're using a Motion Pro fork cap tool to unscrew the top of the fork. This is the same fork tool used for many older KTM models. Once you've unscrewed the top of the fork, drain the oil in a suitable container. To remove the cartridge from the fork, unbolt the cartridge screw at the bottom of the fork. You can use your front axle to act as a lever to make things easier. Once the screw is removed, simply unscrew the fork cap and pull the cartridge out of the fork. In this video, we're not going to disassemble the air cartridge because it requires no maintenance at this time. Okay, this is your air chamber. It acts as your spring. You can tell it's super light. This little feature right here allows air to escape between the main air chamber and a balance chamber, so everything evens itself out. And then this little bolt on the bottom is what this nut is screwing into, or this bolt is screwing into, and holding it all together. So before you take the fork apart, you should move this ring slider up. Best way I found to do it is just with a piece of nylon, and you can take and just tap it with a hammer and tap that off. Okay, so now we're going to remove the dust seal just with a small flat screwdriver. And then you're going to look inside here and you can remove that circlip. Okay, you're just going to heat this area right here. Once you've heated this area up, you can just bam. Okay, and you can just pull your bushings off. Okay. Up. Okay, now you're just looking for scratches in the fork leg. Once you find one, you can take a piece of 400 grit sandpaper, wrap it around something, and maybe buff out the nick like that so that it's nice and smooth. You don't catch it with your fingernail. Once you've taken down your nicks, you can take a piece of 400 grit sandpaper, wrap it around the fork leg, and just work it up and down until you get a nice smooth finish. Okay, now's a good time to inspect the fork bushings. Just look inside and make sure the surface is good. If you're going to reuse these, it's a good idea to feather the edge of the bushing so that if you got a lip on it from pulling them apart. So you could just take and feather the edge real gently on both sides. When you're installing your seals, you're going to want to cover up any sharp edges on the fork leg. Electrical tape, a plastic bag, or a fork bullet are all suitable means to do this. There's that. With the oil seal, you want to use grease. Just apply a little bit on the inside here. On the oil seal, you want to use fork oil. Assemble the fork. So we're going to put dust seal on first, the lock ring, the oil seal, the washer. You can go ahead and remove the tape now. Okay. To seat the fork seal, use the proper fork seal driver to do this. It's important to use the proper tool. Using the wrong tool could damage the seal. Next, install the fork clip and make sure it's properly seated. Finally, install the dust seal and the protective fork ring. Okay, now you're going to assemble everything. Here. I'm just going to put a dab of grease on here. Again, using your front axle for leverage, torque the cartridge bolt to 45 Newton meters. Fill the fork with 200 cc's of oil. KTM specifies you can use between 180 and 240 cc's depending on your needs. Finally, tighten the top cap down to 50 Newton meters and fill the fork with air. 157 psi is the standard amount. You can vary this between 102 and 218 psi depending on your needs.